Please be seated. Will you please join in prayer with me? In a small animal shelter, two young individuals came to take refuge. In candlelight, laying upon straw, the promised one stirred within a nervous young mother. How we wonder that your Son, a piece of you sent from heaven, could reside in such humble beginnings. And yet we engage with this picture with the expectation, with the hardship, and with the wonder. This is the Eve that held such promise, the Eve that would be remembered forever, the Eve that changed everything. We remember this moment now and continue to wonder at your amazing plans, at your unfailing love, and your amazing grace. And to this end, we ask that the words of my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O God, our strength and salvation. Amen. Well, I welcome all of you. It's wonderful to have you here, and then the decorations. Christmas is so wonderful, is it not? With the wreaths and the trees and people going all out. It's a special thing. But this year, I found a different item that spoke to me about Christmas, and it's kind of odd because unlike candles or wreaths or wrapping, we don't usually think of a suitcase as a Christmas item, do we? Unless, that is, you've traveled here, you're traveling somewhere else, or you're going to receive one as a gift. I remember how thrilled I was when my parents gave me my first set of luggage. An 18-year-old finds that very, very stimulating. But somehow this is what came to mind as I was kind of shuffling around the house this year, preparing for whatever was going on, and I stumbled over a suitcase. And it was then that all of a sudden my thoughts coalesced, and I had a good idea of what I would want to say this evening. Now, you may be thinking, oh, what in the world are you talking about? A suitcase, Christmas Eve, this is crazy, and you're a little nuts. Because we all know the story, don't we? We all know, right, why we're here. Everyone knows Joseph and Mary, they travel from Nazareth to Bethlehem, and she has a baby, and then some sleepy-headed shepherds stumble in, and eventually some wise guys show up, and you know how we know they're wise is because in the pictures they're standing next to the shepherds. You see, that's just the way it is. And we got it. We understand. So Keith, get to the point. Wrap this thing up so we can all eat, drink, go home, and be merry, right? But that's precisely my point. You see, we've all heard the Christmas story so many times. We've read it, we've sung it. We received greeting cards with it painted all over the front of the card. Even people who really don't associate with churches or care much for religion, they know this story. It is so, it has so infected and influenced our culture. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. You see, that's also the problem. Because we've heard it so many times. I don't know about you, but preaching at Christmas is very, very difficult because I've said it so many times. You've heard it so many times. We think we've got it, nothing new, so just move on. And this perspective of familiarity applies to a lot of things in life. You know, it's like living by the Gulf. You know, you live here, and after a while, people say, well, I bet you enjoy going there. And, well, no, I don't. Right? There's so many things in life that we just kind of breeze by and over that are absolutely stunning and amazing to other people. Take, for example, you know, as a minister, one of our biggest challenges is planning weddings with a bride, and usually the bride's mother. Let's not forget that. And the challenge is that as you are trying to work out the ceremony and what's going on, you really become the one who kind of follows because they know what a wedding should be like because everybody's been to one. And then we transfer that into the ordinary. We transfer that into whatever, many times just copying or repeating what we've seen. Besides, we really want to get to the reception anyway. But friends, neither the ceremony or the reception are what a wedding day is about. The wedding day is about the start of a partnership, a marriage, and a commitment that everyone hopes will last a lifetime. I'm done now. You know, the old story that as a minister it's better to hear a child cry than a deacon snore. But friends, Christmas works the same way. You know, we've all celebrated it. We've all been through it so many times that the glitter, I would submit to you, the glitter and the deep sheen has worn thin. Been there, seen it, done it. But have we? So back to my suitcase. Get back to my suitcase. As I bumped into it this week, it rolled away. Very politely, it got out of my way. But think about it. Once upon a time, a suitcase never did that. It didn't do that. They just sat there and you tripped over them. Wheels were not standard equipment. We just lugged and we tugged them around. And when you think about it, that's pretty dumb, isn't it? Pretty dumb in hindsight. But that's the way it was. We were just used to it. We accepted it until someone came along and said, you know what, there's a better way. Let's figure it out. And that happened as early as 1887. But the idea went nowhere. Obviously, it was good because it reappeared in 1932, but no, nothing. And then again in 1972, and nobody cared then. No, the wheels on a suitcase did not catch on until 1993, when the airline industry ran ads showing dashing pilots and picture-perfect flight attendants wheeling them through the airports. Then they were popular. It was an idea whose time had come. But here's my question. Why did it take so long? Why didn't folks see the sense of this sooner? It's not, it's kind of mind-boggling that it took that long. I guess people just thought, well, that's the way it is. We need to get over it. But honestly, don't the wheels on a suitcase make things a whole lot better? And it's such a simple idea. That's when I realized that we've come to the place where we lump Christmas in the same category as those wheels. We've seen them, they're there, we kind of take it for granted. You know, Christmas has been talked about and celebrated for 2,000 years, but, you know, it's just what it is, and so, okay, we'll move on. But friends, there's got to be more. There has to be something else. Christmas has to speak to us that there is a better way. Because the world's problems and life's challenges, they haven't changed. They haven't gone away. And maybe that's why Christmas comes again and again and again. Because humanity still dreams and we sing about loving and sharing and caring and respecting each other. Most importantly, we have this dream, this vision of peace on earth. And yet, as we look around ourselves, the mantra that seems to lead us is that might always makes right, the ends justify the means, no hurt, no foul, and as Machiavelli once said, never attempt to win by force what you can win by deception. The good news is Christmas never gives up. It came last year, it comes this year, and it will come next year until we get it. Until we see the need for adding the wheels to our faith, to our life, to our morals, to our ethics that could make all the difference in the world, could make our life so much easier, so much better, revealing to us a more compassionate path to follow, a meaningful way that we could get to peace. Only if we would recognize that there might be some wisdom in this day, this night, this message, this birth that we have taken for granted or overlooked and therefore not tried. You know, if we spent half the energy living the values we talk about and sing about on this evening, as we do worrying whether people say Happy Holidays or Merry Christmas, perhaps we would start going somewhere. After all, what matters are not the words we say. Words are easy to say, but what matters is the sincerity behind them. The power of wishing someone a better life, a better day, of hoping they find joy and hope and peace. These are just words until they become incarnate in us, and that's what Christmas is about. That these words, this divine path is in the flesh, in Jesus, that maybe if God comes close enough, we'll wake up and we'll see there's something here. You know, anger and hostility have metastasized in our society these days. Respect, decency, compassion, and honesty, they seem like they're optional. And I must say, it greatly concerns me. Living for self has taken a greater significance than living for the health of our commonwealth. And we can point fingers in every direction, but the bottom line is it's a reflection of us. What we deem acceptable and are willing to just kind of go on, that's the way it is and live with. You know, 20 years ago, we were all stunned by the tragedy in Colorado at Columbine High School. Now it's become just another part of our everyday. Instead of figuring out what's to be done, I think we've just become numb. And we keep dragging the same baggage with us year after year. And I can't help but think that God looks down on us and says, so how's that working for you? It was Gilbert Chesterton, writer, philosopher, theologian, from the early part of the last century, who once said, The truth is, Christianity has not been tried and found wanting. It has been found difficult and not tried. I am reminded of a pastor who had just arrived at his new church, and everyone was, of course, very excited. They had this new, energetic individual, and the church was packed on his first Sunday. They just couldn't wait when he was done to hear what he would say the second week. But when they came the next week, he preached exactly the same sermon. Okay, maybe he had a busy week, didn't have time to work out anything. We can do this. But they came back the third Sunday, and he preached it again. And then again. Until church leaders said, "What's going on? You know, the same sermon over and over and over. When are you going to start preaching something new?" To which he responded, "I will preach something new when you finally hear and do what I've been trying to say." You see, the idea of placing wheels on a suitcase was presented numerous times before someone finally thought, maybe we should try it. And guess what? It worked. So Christmas comes year after year because God is still hoping that maybe, just maybe, this stuff we sing about might be taken more seriously, not just looked at as a story or a celebration, but as a vision for our world that actually could come to life. It could happen. It could be if we just didn't say, well, got to live with it. It could happen if we wanted and if we truly tried.